Hi, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to everyone joining to day two of the BeMore Festival. Well, I guess day two in my time zone. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining. I'm with Nikita. She is a senior design researcher at Microsoft, the lead researcher for Outlook in India, working collaboratively with people across the globe. She's also a regular writer on Medium and often gives talks in UX India, UMO design, and other spaces. So, welcome, Nikita.
Thank you. Thank you, Elsa, for introducing me. Should I get started? Okay. So, in the middle of the pandemic, I and my team embarked on this journey to understand the first time users. It has been an incredible ride so far, and I'm here to tell you all about it. Let me start with a story. Meet Keshav. He's 12. He lives in the busiest city in India, Mumbai. He aspires to be a doctor one day. The most interesting time for him during the day is when he's allowed to use his family's phone. The phone looks something like this. Do you remember this feature phone? Did any of you have this one as your first? Do add that in the chat. I definitely did have this as my first phone. Today's feature phones are more advanced. iOS is the operating system that helps bring the best of smartphones to super affordable devices. But what all is there in this phone? These are phones that have Wi Fi and 4G capability. But not just that, these phones also have cameras, Bluetooth, and GPS. And the most famous apps are supported by iOS like WhatsApp, Facebook, Google Search, YouTube, etc. But coming to the home ground for me and my team, the biggest player that we see in India is the JioPhone. It has the largest number of devices in the world, surprisingly. And if you see the market share of it in India is higher than the iOS devices, all of iOS devices in India. And it is super affordable to add. But let's get back to Keshav and his family. He's not the only one who owns this phone. Talking about the ownership of the phone, it is a bit tricky as the whole family uses it for one thing or another. Keshav's mother, for example, is a part time homemaker and a part time beautician. And for her, saving time is everything. She uses the phone to make video calls to her relatives, to watch videos on YouTube about any recent beauty trends to keep updated for her job. And also, she likes to be aware of what is going on in the celebrity world. Keshav's father, on the other hand, has the phone with him all day, and he can be named as a conventional owner of the phone. He is an electrician and he wants the phone to fit his needs. So he wants a phone that is easy to handle as well as more durable to fit his work environment. Keshav's grandmother also uses the phone in the evenings. She nowadays uses YouTube to help with her evening prayers. And finally, Keshav. He is the tech savviest of them all. He is the one who found out about WhatsApp and introduced it to his family. He's also the one who is the most updated about this phone. But it is really interesting to see how everyone in this family is a new user or new to internet user, regardless of their age or even tech savviness. And to think about it, right? Every minute or every hour, we have one or multiple people who get on the internet for the first time. And yes, it is a new world for them to explore. But think about it. What would have taken this particular user to actually get on the internet? How was the journey like? We wanted to be there when users first enter internet. As Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person to achieve more. Let be folks like us or new to internet users. So we didn't want to go through the traditional route of how people had solved for them. But we wanted to explore more. What more can we do? What more can we help them? How can we help them achieve more? That also meant changing our perspective and direction. Instead of seeking how Outlook can fit in their lives, we wanted to understand them ground up, understand their unmet and unarticulated needs, their behaviors and mindsets, their mental models and gaps. So that's exactly what we did. But instead of talking about the process, let me share with you my perspectives and I would love to hear yours. This project was really difficult, not just from an execution point of view, as we did conduct research and design in the middle of the pandemic, but it was also difficult for me. A lot of my bias surfaced during this project. So, let me tell you about the three realities that I had and then three reflections that I had from this project. We do know that life is tough for these users. They usually live hand to mouth with a monthly salary of about $130. They usually end up working as a gig worker or some sort of a part-time job, and they would have multiple part-time jobs during the day. But if they end up missing a particular shift, that would mean actually missing a whole meal. They also need to manage their finances to a T, and they usually use physical ledgers or diaries to account for every penny, like each and every penny that they have earned and spent. Most of their work runs on trust and verbal promises, and community plays a big role in their lives. Literacy is another barrier. Most of this segment have very little to no education. So they're unable to read and or type in their vernacular languages, let alone English. Voice is a big differentiator for these folks when they come online for the first time. The third reality is technological. We noticed a karke de do, or it translates to do it for me, as opposed to do it for yourself model. Most of our experiences right now assume do it yourself model. These folks rely very heavily on people in their ecosystem to use their devices, right from the shop or the shopkeeper that they bought their phone from. From the decision on which device to buy to which apps need to be installed, the shopkeeper or the local digital influencer would go to an extent to even help them create usernames and passwords to sign into the apps on their behalf. As I see them, new to internet users are from an alternate dimension. Many of us started our journey with a wired internet connection to maybe a desktop or a laptop. We got our first emails, we explored the internet and used social media platforms like MySpace, Outlook, Orkut, and now Facebook and Gmail. We also started shopping online and banking online. For these users, they start with data on their phone and they use their phone number to log into WhatsApp and Facebook. They use voice as a search platform to actually explore the internet. Their digital journey is so much different than ours. It is really unfair for us to expect them to proceed and come to where we have reached or where we are. Not all one size fits all. And in this particular space, our shoe is never going to fit theirs. So instead, let's see how can we actually provide experiences and interventions to help them with their challenges than thinking about our own. Conventional digital experiences and apps are keypad focused. However, in this case, all of that goes out of the window, not because of just dexterity limitations. Their experience is compromised because all of the experiences that we give to them are already decided for them. These users use these digital experiences by hacking into them and trying to make it work for them. They are actively engaging with experiences that are given to them, and they are trying to make the most meaningful experience out of it. So instead of force fitting our interaction paradigms, let's listen to them. These users have entered the internet by voice and other medium and other interaction paradigms. So let's help them leverage it better. We also somehow get into this colonial mindset when we think about these users. We feel these users are different from us, but they are actually the same. They aspire to be better. They want a better life, just like us. So, can we stop thinking of us versus them, but think about the context around us and context around them? We also feel that we are building for them, but the notion of for them in itself is wrong. We are trying to win them on our terms, but what about theirs? We hold our standards of minimal, swanky design, but that's never really going to work for these users. They want large, explosive, cluttered experiences. They are not afraid for that one extra tap or one extra click. Actually, that one extra tap or one extra click actually makes that experience more engaging for them. Their image of tech is so different than us. So, can we use that image and curate meaningful experiences for them? Let's make it for them and then decide. And let them decide what they want to do with it than us thinking about what we can give them. So, those were my three realities and reflections. Let me quickly show you what we created for the new to internet users in India. So the core of Outlook is helping bring the best selves, right? Helping everyone bring their best selves. And that's exactly what we did. We understood the user's productivity needs and created an Outlook in their image. And we had a phenomenal response. If you go to YouTube right now today and search Outlook in Geophone, you would come across this organic content created by these local influencers about our app. Thank you. That's all from my end. Oh, we can go ahead with Q&A. So the question is, should new upcoming designers always think and design for next billion users? I think that's very subjective, right? Right now, everyone is looking at how can we make one product and just put it across to all the user segments, but that may not work considering all the user segments are very different, right? Even in us, if we call ourselves tech enabled, even in us there are different people. So instead of looking at, oh, can I look at all of them and create something, okay, create one thing for everyone, can we have a product that sort of has individual experiences for all, so that it will solve the needs for everyone than having one whole need and just force fitting it on everyone? Does that answer your question? Okay. What is the reason behind it? I understand this family as a persona set. Is it based on? Okay, so we did conduct a lot of foundational research. If you look at how the product process is, right? We did the foundational research to understand who they are, not from what can we build, but who they are point of view. We did, because it was pandemic, we could not go onto the field, but we used a hacky way of doing it. We got on WhatsApp calls to actually talk to them, see how the space around it is, understand their context. And once we actually defined, designed, and had a prototype, we went back and tested with them to see if what we have built for them actually fits their mental model. So we had both a foundational as well as a validatory research done. How could we collectively make designs much more inclusive and better for everyone? I think it all starts with research, right? And understanding who they are. If we don't know who they are, we won't be able to design well for them, right? It's about understanding who they are, understanding what their mindset towards technology is, understanding what is a need that we can actually solve for. I see a lot of products trying to replicate their physical experiences to digital experiences, but that's never going to work because the physical experiences are already solving for their need, right? So what more can we help them with? What more can we give? And understanding that holistically will help us design more inclusive products for them. Okay. Hey Nikita, how important is marketing, digital slash prod in product design? Also, that is very subjective, right? At least for us, when we launched this app, we went out with zero marketing. We did no marketing. It was put out as a pilot for, I think, 9 to 10 days, and we saw organic marketing that actually happened, right? So marketing is important, but from a product design point of view, I'm not too sure. From a market research point of view or a marketing design point of view, I think it is very important. uh, can begin new to web somehow be included in accessibility guidelines, where we usually have in mind age and disabilities? I wouldn't want to put a whole set of users in that segment, right? Then, which means that we are considering them secondary than primary users. To again talk about it, right? Almost half of the world is still not online. So that is a huge set to then consider the accessibility guidelines, right? And again, new to internet users, as they are so different, I don't think our design paradigms are ever going to solve for them, right? So instead of having them as a separate set, can we also think of them as primary users and see how can we solve for them better than putting them on sidelines? How do we define first time users? I mean, we were first time users at one point. Yes, we were, but we were first time users a very long time ago, right? And we have sort of evolved through a journey. How many years do you think have you been online, right? And we have gone from being a very novice user to an expert user. But the internet or the digital experiences have grown with us, right? But unfortunately, people who come online for the first time right now, they are novice or they are new, but the digital experiences have already gone through a whole phase and become more curated for us. I think anyone who comes online right now is what I'll call first time users, or anyone who has been online for, let's say, only a year would still be a first time users for now. How do you navigate the existing household power hierarchy and access to things such as household finances when it's centralized on a single phone for a family? I would actually question back. Are you sure that household finances are centralized on a single phone? As I mentioned, they are done on, again, if I have your question right, they are done on a diary or a ledger. So, a lot of things that we think are on the phone are still not on the phone for them, right? And in terms of power hierarchy, yes, it does affect. So, the amount of time a phone will be given to a particular family member would differ, right? Maybe a male of the household would have the phone for most of the time. The male might also dominate on the lady of the house to, how much can she search, how much can she use, things like that. But there has been drive of women sort of also trying to educate themselves through this tech, right? So they usually would have a me time where they'll have a phone to themselves and they'll use it however they want. So yes, that's how it works. I think that is all for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. And do let me know your thoughts on the talk. And if you have any thoughts around new to internet users, what did you feel about my realizations and so far? Thank you.